Light gun games, man. I love going to the arcade and playing light gun games. House of the Dead, Time Crisis, all that good stuff. Even at home back in the day, Virtual Cop. Hey, Duck Hunt. Why the heck not? A lot of fun, and modern times, a little more difficult to be playing some light gun games at home, but there are solutions out there. And I want to kind of talk about some solutions here. One is the retro shooter, which we had done a video on their little pre-set up build that they sell with their light guns, the sensors, and their little game box. They have updated these guns. They've made a new set that comes with extra sensors and whatnot. But with their little Pandora box or the little system that they sell, you're limited on the types of games you could play. And today, what I wanted to do was play some light gun games using my ASUS ROG Ally. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. I teased this on Twitter the other day, and a lot of people were hitting me up about it because we were playing some LA machine guns. So the way I went about this was Chris Coolmod. He sent me a couple builds in the past that we looked at, which were just basic setups of arcade stuff, console gaming, and whatnot. And now he has a 2 terabyte light gun build that you could plug into your PC. Like I said, I plugged it into my ROG Ally and started gaming. Maybe not the best solution using a system that has an APU, but it's still, you could play quite a bit of stuff off of this. I didn't really have too much of an issue, but I think for the best experience, maybe a dedicated PC would be better. But you know what? Whatever you got should work with a build like this. But at the same time, I want to, mention, yeah, there's people like Chris Coolmod out there who sell these builds. Occasionally, somebody like him will send me one to take a look at, share with you guys, let you know how I feel about it. And I'll give you my thoughts on it. But at the same time, I always recommend, like, hey, instead of buying a build from somebody, either learn how to build one yourself. That way, you're really not having any issues in the long run. You're learning as you go, or, download a build and put it on a hard drive. But if that's too much work for you, you don't got the time for it, and you just want to go the easier route, then okay, a light gun build from somebody like Chris Coolmod with this Retro Beast light gun setup might be the answer for you. So real quick, before we get into the actual build, I am going to boot it up. We'll look at all the games that are included. There's hundreds of light gun games, thousands of arcade games for you to mix it up with. And I'll show you a bunch of footage of playing these games. I had a lot of fun with it, but I do want to show the actual drive here and just point out one thing. This is not exactly plug and play. You're not going to plug it into your PC and just boot the build and boom, 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 start going. No, there's some setup involved, and I think Chris Coolmod, for the most part, does a decent job explaining how to get this stuff going. But this specific build, I just noticed it does seem a little messy with certain things on how to get set up. So if you're somebody who's very new, has never messed with a build before and built your own, some of this can seem daunting and confusing. I can't sit here and explain the whole process, but it is simple. But he's going to have videos. He's going to have text README documents. This document is not specific to this build, so it can confuse some people. You might think something's wrong, especially with all these, like, oh, look at all these different drive letters for all this different stuff. That's not on the light gun build. So I kind of wish he would have specific stuff for the build. There are videos that explain this kind of stuff, but you'll have this one-click install. It just installs like the redistributables from Microsoft and Visual C++, stuff like that. It will try to install, I think it's IOBit Driver Booster. I hate when these guys include that crap as an install. Hey, update all your drivers to this third-party software. I've heard it's safe, but no. Windows updates drivers. If there's specific drivers I need to update, I'll go to the actual manufacturer's site, update them myself. I don't trust no third-party software. You could skip that if you want. But okay, so there's that, the Wiki Light Gun. He has like a 52-minute video. I'm just going to say, there's a 52-minute video here to setting up the Gun 4 IR and the retro shooter. Really, it should be condensed down. And I know there's crossover between setting up both of the guns. But like, to keep the confusion to minimal and not to have so many people asking questions, a quick video for each one, the setup would be beneficial. I think like a 6-minute video would be perfect. It doesn't need to be 52 minutes, but hey, it is what it is. There's other like gun calibration guides, stuff like that. The Syncovery update, how to update the drive. He does like monthly updates, all that kind of stuff. There's fixes. A lot of things that you can mess with here. Light gun, you'll have set your Demniel shooter, set Techno Parrot, set your retro gun. You're going to go through those things to get set up. There's another thing I noticed, like shortcuts here. Some of these shortcuts, like you don't have to worry about it, but like crosshair, it'll just turn your PC's cursor to a crosshair. But some of the games already have that, so it's fine. But some of these shortcuts, the folder that it's a shortcut to doesn't actually exist. So yeah, check the path and try again. I know where it's at, but it is kind of weird that it's set up that way. Like these shortcuts aren't right. I know where that script is at, but yeah, let's go ahead and boot this thing up and check it out. Those are my minor criticisms, and just heads up on like, hey, you got a tiny bit of work ahead of you. Okay, so here we go. We've got the build booted up. I have it booted up on my main desktop PC. I'm using the controller. It's probably going to show up clear because it's green. My green screen's affecting it. But if you use the retro shooter gun, you would use the analog stick and the buttons on it. I've only used the build, actually played games on my ASUS ROG Ally. So any gameplay footage that I show anywhere on the screen will be through the ROG Ally. And my glasses did darken up. If anybody mentions it, I went outside for a moment in between cuts. The sun hit me. All right. But here we go. What we have here is a few options to get into the games. Light gun goes to all your light gun games in different categories. MAME for all your arcade games, which is kind of cool. There's a lot of stuff in there, like 3,637. Your basic stuff, all your Street Fighters, your old school games. It's cool. Kind of mix things up, but we're focusing mostly on the light gun stuff. I mean, 99.9% on that. You have Techno Parrot, which is supposed to be the controller games, so the non-light gun games. But if you go in here, it just has all of them, I think. But you'll have stuff like Afterburner. I can't remember. This is a Lest, but I can't remember what the actual name of it is. This game's pretty cool, but you'll have stuff like that, then all your light gun games as well. But if you go into a light gun build, it'll have, just the light gun games for Techno Parrot. Then you do have gun apps here, like setting Demniel shooter, retro shooter, the enable, all the shortcut stuff. I mean, you can just access it through here, just through the actual drive if you want. But okay, to the light gun stuff. That's what we want to take a look at. Okay, here we go. Light gun games. So in the beginning, it'll say all light gun games. You can go in there, just scroll through everything. But there are a bunch of categories here. I'm not going to talk about every single game, but I will scroll through every single light gun game so you can get an idea of what's here. I'll make a few comments on things that I have played, but as an example, MAME light gun games, you got a lot of cool stuff here. Some classics, Carnival. It tells you up top, up there, how many games are in each collection. So this has 91 games. I will scroll through as best I can for you to see what is included. Some collections have more than others, just the way it's going to be. Now, while we're doing this, my time with this build, like I said, I've only played the light gun games on my ASUS ROG Ally. A dedicated, a computer, I keep saying that, a computer with a graphics card, like an NVIDIA graphics card, AMD, you may have a better time. I would say on the ROG Ally, actually booting the games, I didn't really have an issue. If you do wind up having an issue like black screen or aspect ratios messed up or things are spread across the screen incorrectly, most likely you're going to go into your desktop, change your display settings or look at those. I had to change my scaling. I think it was at 150%, put it to 100%, and then it was fine. So there's that. There's going to be fixes on the actual drive that help with that kind of stuff. Arcade Gunner, what do we got? What the heck is that? J-pop, K-pop shooter? I don't know. That Baby Metal, what is that? I have no idea. Darkscape 4, there's only 2 games in that one. And then you do have a Atari. There's only a few in here, 4. I do like that this build has a mix of retro consoles and, light gun games for retro consoles and then some arcades, a lot of arcade stuff. Here you got 5 games, not too many. Let's get out of there. That was a Thomas Wave. Dreamcast, we have 6. Some fun stuff. House of the Dead 2, man. Arcade perfect right there. Freaking amazing game. Spent a lot of money playing it in the arcade. Sega Genesis, we have 5 games. I did play Lethal Enforcers. My God, I should have played the arcade version because this game is pixelated as all hell, but that's the way I played this game on the Super Nintendo back in the day. With a controller, though, not a light gun. Sega Hikari. We got Brave Firefighters. This one's kind of cool. Put out them flames, dude. Sega Master System. You got 12 games. Kind of fun stuff. But it's cool to have a collection like this. Now, I think my only other issues I had was with some of the arcade stuff, where some of the games, like, I had to figure out how, like, why it wasn't letting second player play, um, or why, like, if I started the game with one player, it would control two players at once, like both, sites for player one and player two. So there may be little issues that you run into that you're going to either have to seek out, Google it. I'm not the most experienced with light gun builds, but I know there's a lot of setup just to get this to the point of you having minimal setup is a lot of work. I recognize that, but there may be little things that come up that you're going to have to Google or ask questions on the Discord. Here you go, LA Machine Guns. This is on Model 3. I've played these. Man, that game was fun. Just on that retro shooter, holding the analog stick to have the recoil set to, like, hold it for 3 seconds, have it set the single fire recoil. If you hold it for 3 seconds again, it puts it to just like rapid recoil. That's the way you do it for LA Machine Guns. Star Wars Trilogy. This is one where like the screen was messed up and I had to change the scale in my display settings, and then it worked fine. But a lot of fun here. Naomi, we got 8 games. Ninja Assault, that one's cool. Oh, NES. I know you got a decent chunk here. 27. I mean, that's a decent chunk, dude. You got Barker Bill's Trick Shooting. I remember playing the hell out of this game with the NES Zapper back in the day. So there's a lot of stuff. Some games will have like where it's not necessarily just a light gun game, but it'll have like light gun modes or levels type of thing. So I've recognized a couple games here that have that. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Let's keep it moving. PS1, a lot of stuff here. Area 51. I played a few back in the day on the PS1. I know I played like Point Blank. So you got that stuff on here. But this might be similar where some of these games might have light gun levels or whatever. Time Crisis. You can use that pedal that comes with the retro shooter. If you got that hub, powers the recoil, lets you use the pedals. So there's that. PS2. Oh, what do we got on here? I think PS2 is like, I never really played light gun games on it, but I know there was like some cool stuff. You got the Time Crisis games, Vampire Knight, a lot of games I'm familiar with, but I never actually played on the system back then. PS3, I think these are like arcade games that use the emulator. I think, because I did play Dead Storm Pirates. That was one where I had an issue. I had to like figure out where it was like player one was controlling player 1 and 2 at the same time. But yeah, you might run across little things. But like I said, I think 95% of my time using this build, I didn't have an issue. Sega, man, Lethal Enforcer's pixelated up on there too, but maybe it's got a few extra pixels than the Genesis version. I don't know. What is this? Singe 2. Oh, Mad Dog McCree. I played that on here. It's fun, but it's kind of a slow-paced game. Wait for the guys to pop up and watch the shift in the film, the video. But yeah, 13 games there. Okay, keep it moving. Super Nintendo shooters. I played a couple of these. I know I played that Yoshi's Safari for this video. That was kind of fun. Never played that before, but yeah, all your Super Scope stuff. A lot of fun there. What else do we got? I think we're getting close to the end. Oh, Techno Parrot. This is what I really wanted to mess around with on this build. So you got 40 light gun games here. You got the Aliens games, Big Buck Hunter. You want to hunt them bucks. Castlevania, the arcade. This one was fun, man. You like whoosh, whip the freaking gun to use your whip. Like, I played it a few times. It was interesting. What else do we got? Far Cry, Ghost Squad. You got 40 games total. House of the Dead 4, I played that one. That was cool. What else? Luigi's Mansion, the arcade. I've played that in the actual arcade, with the kids type of thing. Interesting game. But there you go. Star Trek. My bad. Oh, my God. I want to start a fight here. Star Trek. My bad. I didn't mean to say the wrong thing. Oh, my God. You don't do that, dude. You don't do that. Then you got Wii light gun games. 48, man. There's a bunch of them. I think some of them are garbo, little garbage pile games. But there's a lot of cool ones, too. I don't know. Maybe that Chicken Blasters crap. I don't know. Maybe it's fun shooting chickens. Chicken Riot. How many chicken games do you got on here? But, yeah, a lot of Wiimote games. Link's Crossbow Challenge or Training. I mean, messing up the names here. My bad. But, yeah, 48 games there. And then at the
very end, we've got Xbox with 4 games: Silent Scope, Dark Silhouette, Virtual Cop 3. So that's cool. Nice little selection overall. So you're getting like under 400 light gun games, under 4,000 arcade games. A build like this. I'll put his link down below. But like I said, I like trying it out. I think it's a nice build. But there's always pros and cons to going about it this way. And I hope I've kind of made it clear the way I feel about it. But I do appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think. I think the retro shooter, just kind of add on to that. The retro shooter guns, it's a reasonable way to get into light gun gaming. You're going to set your own stuff up. These other guns out there are hella expensive. Retro shooters cheap in comparison anyway. A couple $100 to get a whole setup. It's pretty cool in my opinion. I've been enjoying it. So yeah, there you go. Bye.